Welcome back to Celtic Fans TV. It's time for the video that you've all been asking for. We've had a few comments asking us to do one. It is the Celtic squad tier video. I've done one, Ryan's done one. We're going to go through them, talk about who we think is going to leave this summer, who should leave, who shouldn't leave, who we should keep, who we should build the team around, and we'll touch on the areas that we need to strengthen as well. We'll probably have some transfer window videos coming up as well once pre-season starts and we start making some signings. We'll have that coming up as well, but we'll start with the punt tier. Time to get rid of the deadwood.
Yes.
How many seasons have we been saying that this squad needs cleared out? It doesn't seem to happen, does it? So
too many.
do you think we're going to see the clear out that we need this summer?
No. Look at the comments during the week.
Aye.
The board do not believe that we need as big a clear out as the fans believe that we need. So that there tells me everything that I need to know for the summer transfer window. I know that, and I might be wrong, I hope so much that I'm wrong here. I hope so much that I've got massive egg in my face this year. I believe that we'll have 3 or 4 signings come into the team, and I don't think that any of them will be marquee signings, people who will come in and be that signing that takes the club to where we would like to see it move to. I think it's going to be very conservative signings. I think it's going to be getting the best player at the least money and trying to make that work as we always do. I'm not overly optimistic, but there's a shit ton of deadwood to get rid of at that club right now.
You hope you're wrong, I hope you're wrong. First man up on the punt list, Marvin Comper.
Get him to Marvin Comper is the biggest waste of space I have ever seen.
I think it's the strangest signing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Back at the time we signed him, that was the area of the squad that we really needed strengthened in. He came with a good reputation for Germany, experienced,
yep.
And he's only played 83 minutes of football in 2 years.
Unreal.
It's remarkable, really.
Took his winner's medal like a champ.
I know. I honestly, I don't know whether to laugh at that or be angry about it, because he shouldn't have been anywhere near the park on Trophy Day. I've contributed as much to Celtic winning 8 in a row as Marvin Comper. Comper has to go. Buck, loans ran out, time to go.
Yep.
Didn't do enough, did he?
No, not even close. Where does he go in his career now? We've talked about this, right? Going from, over the last couple of seasons, £25 million, I think I'm right, £25 million in transfer fees. He doesn't even look like a guy that would get a game, and perhaps we can make it. Like, he's got so much pace but no final product.
It's the technical stuff that lets him down. And at 21, 22, if you've not developed that already, I don't see
it's probably never going to happen.
But it's not a problem anymore.
Yep.
So Dedu Boya is gone to Hertha Berlin. We know that. Emilio Izagiri is gone.
Yep.
We hope we're not bringing him back this time. Although, with the way things are going this summer, I wouldn't be surprised if we phoned him up on the last day of the transfer window and brought him back because of our inability to sign a
decent
cover at left back for KT. Jack Hendry, punt list.
Yes, punt list. I just feel that, don't get me wrong, right, it just isn't Celtic. He just isn't Celtic. I think that sums it up for me. That boy is not Celtic. He will do a reasonable job in a team like a Dundee or
maybe even an Aberdeen.
Aberdeen maybe. Aye, but he's not Celtic.
Absolutely. Kundai Benyu,
who?
Goner as well. I was digging him up on Twitter for liking Glenn Kamara's Instagram post after Rangers beat us 2-0. So if that's not the final straw, I don't know what is. Christian Gamboa already gone. Jeremy Toljan gone back to Dortmund.
Where's his career gone?
I've never seen a more passive footballer in my entire life. He's just snowballered.
No.
Just sauntered about, looked like he didn't want to be there. I don't know if he was just Dortmund sent him out on loan and he was just there ticking boxes because that's what he had to do. I don't know. Very, very poor. This is where we start to split off because on my punt list I've got another right back, Anthony Ralston. You've got him in for one for the future.
Yep.
I just think that whenever we've seen him, I know he's had tough time with injuries. He's been out on loan at Dundee United. There was a wee stage where we all hoped he was the right hand sided Kieran Tierney. I don't think there's any danger of that. But that's a tall order, obviously. It's no, you can't produce players like Kieran Tierney at 10 a penny. But I just, again, kind of like you said with Jack Hendry, I don't think he's got it. I don't think he's Celtic. I don't think he's going to be a Celtic right back that can really push on and keep his place in the first team for years to come. You think there's still some development there?
I think there is. I think he's still young enough that there can be development with the right. If we can bring in a proper right back, see if we brought in like a Castagna or something like that, and somebody who he could play under for a couple of seasons, I think that Ralston's still raw enough, he's still young enough that he can pick up and learn a lot for somebody. He can still learn his trade. I think that he's not somebody that I would write off just yet. Don't get me wrong, I don't think he's a million miles off it, because he's getting to that sort of age where you need to start to round yourself off and become the player that you're ever going to be. But I still think he's raw enough that if we bring in the right back, then he can still learn. Okay, well, agree to disagree on that one.
Mikael Lustig, who I've also got on the punt list. There's talk of, I'm sure Neil Lennon mentioned in his unveiling press conference that he wants to give him a new 2-year deal. Yes. We've only been needing to get rid of him for 2 years, and we're talking about giving him a 2-year deal, which, by the way, I'm not 100% set against. He's massively experienced. Like you're saying with Ralston, he can be there as a squad player, as a backup, and the young boys have got so much to learn from him because he's an international footballer for years and years, won so much at Celtic. I just can't escape the fact that we'll end up, even if he signs another 2-year deal, we will either, and again I hope I'm wrong, we will either not sign somebody to play ahead of him, or we will sign somebody to play ahead of him but end up in some sort of injury crisis where Lustig has to play. And I think we've been in this situation for too long now. His contract's run out, he served the club absolutely brilliantly. So punt is a harsh word, but I think his time is up.
Here's my take on it. I think that Lustig is useful, and I think that's exactly where I put him.
Yeah.
So Lustig is useful in as much as if we have, like I've already touched on, if Timothy Castagna comes in and he was doing a job for us at right back and we needed backup for him, I think Lustig could do a job in the last 20 minutes a game or for 2 or 3 games in between while he becomes fit again to play that standard of player at right back. The worry is that if we're already looking and talking about a 2-year deal for him, the thought in Celtic minds, certainly at board level, and again I hope I'm wrong, is that he's the right back to take us forward. He's the right back to see 10 in a row in. He's the right back that we want, and Ralston will play underneath him, and that then saves some more pennies, keeps more money in the bank.
Again, I hope you're wrong as well, but I mean, and I hope I'm wrong too, but
time will tell.
I can't forget the capitulations at Ibrox.
Yep.
At Ibrox in Athens, we need strengthening in that area, no getting away from it. Near Beaton is another one. Again, had his time at the club, he's done well in spells, he's had massive problems with injury, but I'm very committed to this. If we're going to clear the squad out, let's clear it out. I'm well aware this probably won't be what happens, but Beaton's just another one who I think he's alright, but he's not going to take this squad any further.
Right.
And the amount of midfielders that we've got, young midfielders as well, some good ones that we'll come on to, I don't see where his place in the squad is. So he's one I think should go.
I think. So in terms of what we're saying here and how we're discussing the team, you know it's irrelevant, right?
Yeah.
So, absolutely irrelevant. I do think that Beaton has done really well for the club. I think he's been someone that has done a job and come in now and again to good effect. I think he's not someone that, because the way that things have gone this week already, and you look at the board saying we don't need the big clear out, that the rebuild that we think we do, I think Beaton's a player that we'll hold on to. I think he's not unuseful. I don't think he's one of these players that you couldn't use now and again, but again it would be sparingly. I would like to think that we can bring in more quality than that and use him sparingly and get rid of the bigger deadwood.
Yeah, like we've seen this season, he's come in at times with a massive injury crisis at a few different times this season, and he came in, probably ended up in double figures just about for appearances, I think, off the top of my head. Last one on my punt list is Ibui Kouassi. You've also got him there. I think in retrospect now, looking at it, that might be a bit harsh because he is young, and I've seen some good performances from him. Again, terrible time of injuries. But again, it's just so much competition in that midfield, and I don't know where Neil Lennon might fancy him, and I'm by having him on my punt list doesn't mean that I don't think he could get there and really make an impact at Celtic, but I'm just not sure if he's going to.
I'm not sure if he's going to either, and he's on my punt list for that reason. I'm just not convinced. I think that if we're not convinced about somebody after he's been here a number of years, let's get him out. Let's get somebody else in, because if he's been here a number of years, regardless of injuries, there has been spells where that guy's been fit enough to play, and he's never broke into the first team. Beaton played ahead of him. Like, there's players that have played ahead of him in a certain similar role and done a better job, and I just think for that reason that he's on the punt list.
For the future now, we can rattle through this one because it's pretty self-explanatory. Ewan Henderson, I think, has been excellent when he's played this season. I thought he was superb against Hearts the last day of the season. We talked about Ollie Burke and developing the technical stuff. That boy's technical ability is superb.
In abundance.
Again, it's probably a key time for him, and that a lot of people talk about the Ajax model and all that sort of stuff. We know that it's been talked to death, but it's important for him in his development now that if he's not going to get maybe 15 to 20 games at Celtic next season, maybe a loan spell would do him good, like we've seen with Ryan Christie, Christopher Aya. Maybe that would help him, but I'm absolutely not against him getting those 15 appearances at Celtic.
Absolutely not. Creative, flair, where he's just one of those players that will make things happen in the game, and Celtic need that. We need that bit of flair, we need that creativity in the middle of the park, and advancing positions, and he's got it in abundance.
Very positive as well.
Very positive.
Massive. Mikey Johnson, he's had Ewan Henderson. We just talked about Henderson maybe getting 15 to 20 games this season. Mikey Johnson got that. He obviously was thrown to the lines at Ibrox a couple of times. But again, technical ability in abundance. Eye for goal, tricky, quick. By all accounts, a big future.
Massive potential.
He's one that I would keep, and again, I'd have him in again 15, 20 times next season,
100%.
and just keep his development going. Vakun Issouf Bayo, who we've seen, well, maybe he won as a league because he won the corner at Rugby Park that led to Scott Brown scoring that goal. Young, haven't seen much of him for the future as well. And Daniel Arzani, who is on loan for 2 years, come back for his own horrendous injury. I think he's going to be back for pre-season, fully fit to build up. Again, we'll see what happens with him. Might be a Robert scenario where he'll eventually go back to Man City, but for the future. Useful, we'll start with Olivier and Cham. There's talk of maybe Marseille coming in for him again, and we've talked about it all season. I'm sure everybody's sick of hearing that he's either superb or hopeless. Too often hopeless this season, and it's just that inconsistent. See, if he could be a bit more inconsistent, he would be in the quality bracket and maybe even the vital bracket. But too often inconsistent, and that's something he needs to sort. If he's going to stay.
If he's going to stay, he needs to sort it. I think, and I've spoke about it a couple of times this season, when Dembele left, Dembele was his right hand man. I feel like he just didn't apply himself as well as he could have this season, and I feel like maybe there was something just a wee bit lacking. That might be a mile out.
Injuries as well, he's another one.
Injuries as well, however, just when he's been on the park a lot of times, too many for me, he just didn't look interested. He didn't look like he was up for it, he didn't look like he was fighting for much, and he just seemed a bit, and maybe it's a bit of French in him because we talk about how nonchalant they are, but he does need to become more consistent or probably move on.
Absolutely. That's a big one. Scott Brown, I've got him in useful, you've got him in quality.
Yep.
Again, that's just perception. Like, where do you see him in the squad? I think Neil Lennon has said he wants to build a team around about him, which you can discuss the merits of building a team around about somebody that's 34.
Yeah.
All day. Extremely useful. Like, and a lot of brilliant qualities. Great leader, fantastic on and off the park.
Yeah.
Integral to everything that Celtic do. Massive figure for the squad. I'm intrigued to see how we're going to use him this season. I fear we're going to use him 10 weeks out of 10.
Yeah.
Which I think we've seen this season at times. He needs to be gradually brought out of the team.
Yeah.
Again, not because he's a bad player.
No.
He's 34, and we play 60 games a season, and he can still have a massive influence from the bench and the squad. I know that he wants to get into coaching. He's big on that. I just think we need to be careful how often we use him. I fully expect him to use us every week though, as I've just said. Scott Brown.
Scott Brown, I put him in quality because he does have, if there was a Usity one where it was useful and quality, we probably bridged those two quite nicely, right?
Yeah.
And what I would say about Scott Brown is he was found wanting a couple of times this season. Scott Brown, 3 seasons ago or 2 seasons ago, when the former manager came in, bossed games in the midfield, especially against the other side of Glasgow. This season he was found wanting too many times, and for me, Scott Brown of 2 or 3 seasons ago would probably have been embarrassed for the performances that he put in, and I think that just says to me he's quality, he is there, we can use him, but let's start to, like you said, phase him out of the team and bring in someone else who can learn from him and build the team round about them, not Scott Brown, who is 34.
Next one on useful for me was Scott Sinclair. You've also got him in there. I think the thing with Scott Sinclair is he's one of those players who can be a scapegoat at times, again, because of the type of player he is.
Yep.
His qualities are technical, he's quick, maybe when the chips are down and you fly into tackles, he's not the guy for that. I think that's why people make him a scapegoat at times. There's absolutely no doubt that he contributes goals and assists, regardless of his form. We've seen him play poorly. I don't know how everybody views his last season there. The season just finished, but he's still chipping in with like 15 goals. That if he goes, and we thought with captain in the side on the last day of the season that was probably a nod that he might go. If he goes, we need to replace that. But absolutely can still be a useful member of the squad for me.
100%. How do you replace those 15 goals in the squad at the minute? Who else is coming up with that on a regular basis? Like, you look at his last 3, he's always there. He's always 15 plus, he's always bringing in the goals, and like you said, he's probably not a player that Neil Lennon would like lean on or rely on to come in and do a job every single week.
We've seen that,
but he's useful and somebody that we can definitely use in the squad, bring him on, maybe substitutions, and just put him in there and he can get a goal for you. He can be creative.
Yeah, we've seen that with Hayes ahead of him a lot of times this season. Lee Griffiths, I've got him on useful. We know that he's got bags of quality. Had his off-field issues this season that meant he missed the best part of 6 months. Undoubted quality, born goal scorer. Still very useful for the squad. I think we've seen with Edward just carry the goal burden on his own, and then he got injured at times, and we had to play without a striker, which is something we obviously need to rectify in the window. But I would love to see Lee Griffiths come back and bang in some goals again.
I would love to see Lee Griffiths come back. I've got him in useful as well, and I think if Lee Griffiths comes back, it almost is a good thing for Celtic financially. They don't need to bring in another striker or too many good strikers. They don't need to really go out and do the business that we would like to see them do. He's definitely useful. He's definitely got goals in him without question. The wee man will bang goals in all day long for fun when his head's in the right place. It's not easy to get over what he suffers as an addiction, and it just, for me, it means that I would probably use him more sparingly than being the first team man.
He's in the gym though. He's not going on any holidays. He's in the gym, so hopefully gets head screwed on, ready to hit the ground running. Next season, Craig Gordon, another one. We don't know where he's at with injuries. Obviously, he wasn't making the bench for much of the second half of the season. But again, experienced. His biggest downfall under Rodgers was obviously the distribution stuff, which he might not be asked to do under Lennon, but definitely a useful member of the squad.
Massively, and as a goalkeeper, you can go into any age.
Johnny Hayes. Again, I said in retrospect with Kouassi, I could maybe give him another chance, or put him in for the future. Johnny Hayes, in retrospect, I would punt him, but I know 100% now that Neil Lennon is in position, Johnny Hayes is going to be integral next season. 100%,
100%. You will see Johnny Hayes on the team sheet more often than not if he stays fit next season. Under Neil Lennon, he's a Neil Lennon player.
As we've seen this season, I just again come back to like Celtic. What qualities do we need from a Celtic player? And I just don't think his technical level is quite there. And if he's playing out wide, I would much rather somebody like Mikey Johnson got game time to kick on his development than Johnny Hayes, who's come towards the end of his career.
I agree.
So we'll move on. Quality. I've got Tom Rogic in here, which is a good starting point because you've got him in useful, and I think I've got him in quality because we've seen him domestically produce quality so many times, but a very poor season by his standards.
Very poor. I think when you look at Rogic through his time, he's been one of those players that turns up big time on the big games and the big days, and he does the business for you. I think he's always been found wanting in Europe. I think if we want to push on in Europe, I don't think he's ever been the player that stands up and is counted in Europe. I think that's the reason why he signed another 5-year deal. I think if he had abundance of options, he would have went somewhere else because his career then could have kicked on at a higher level. I think that he suits the game in Scotland. I think he's useful. I think he's a player that we can again call on. This season has absolutely been a washout for him.
I think he probably needs a rest as well. Like with the World Cup last season, he's just been playing football for about a year and a half without a break. Scott Bain is the next one I've got in quality. I think he's outperformed where we thought his level was at since he came into the team in December. January. We kept an incredible amount of clean sheets. He did have, in the last home game against Hearts and then in the first half of the cup final, some slight distribution problems. Again, that could just be nerves. I think he has quality, and I think he deserves to start the season as Celtic's number one. We should probably bring in another goalkeeper. Davies is gone, so we've only got him and Gordon. We should probably bring somebody in, but I think Scott Bain deserves to be number one.
100%
for the start of the season.
100%.
Ryan Christie,
what a boy!
What a boy indeed. I've got him in quality. You've got him in vital. I can't disagree there. Splitting hairs really massively important. We talked about Ewan Henderson, positivity, always looking forward, playing forward, eye for a goal. Certainly the case for Ryan Christie, and I'm excited to see him, and hopefully he can stay fit for a full season. He's obviously just come back for the jaw surgery from the semi-final, but I am excited to see Ryan Christie next season.
Yes, he's one of those players that he's like, it just in abundance. He has grit, determination, he's tenacious, like he's got everything that you would look for in somebody in the centre of the park.
And technical quality.
But just about to touch on that, so going forward, the technical quality that he has, he can pull a ball away for 2 or 3 players and create space. He can get shots away, which we saw well in the semi-final. against Hearts earlier in the season, and just when he came into the team at the start of the season, and I said that I was really impressed after the terrible performance down at Kilmarnock, he really kicked on for there. He really started to make his place in the team, and I think he is vital moving forwards.
I've got Jozo Simunovic in quality. I think we were all a bit unsure because we've seen him make mistakes at times, but I thought when he came in those last few weeks, last couple of months, safe of the season, his partnership wire, I thought he was very good.
I did think he was very good. I thought more useful than quality, because time's gone by. Yeah, you can only go in the last game, you're only as good as your last game. I do think we saw kind of bits of quality from him, but I still think he's more useful. I would like to see somebody come in a bit more experienced. Somebody, I get it, Benkovic is gone, right, but if you could have someone like that in the centre half pairing with Aya, who is such a promising young player and can really build and kick on in his career, I would like to think we can bring someone else in, and Jozo would be a useful part of that centre defence.
Absolutely. We're on to Vital now.
These are probably quite straightforward.
These are very straightforward. First up, Kieran Tierney. We don't need to say we don't need to say too much about him. The only thing we need to say is we hope that he's alright, and this surgery has done him good, and he can come back full strength, because the sky's the limit for that boy.
100%.
Odsonne Edouard, vital, held us up in terms of goals all season, because we didn't have any other strikers. But there was a discussion on Twitter the other day about picking your favourite Edouard moments of the season, and there's honestly too many. He's another one who has this knack, like Moussa Dembele, that when it's a big game, he said it in the cup final, nervous, I don't feel nervous. And you can see that. You can see that he doesn't feel nervous. You think about the goals against Rangers, the last minute winner at Tynecastle, the last minute winner at Dundee, the finish in the cup final, the way he played in the cup final, working off his scraps for most of the game, but still enough to be the match winner. I remember the game against Motherwell, which was Rodgers' last game in charge, where they scored that Dubé's goal for the throw in, and it was very intense in the stadium. People were on edge, and he put a free kick in the top corner for 25 yards. Bags of quality and vital going forward.
Absolutely vital. And I think if we were scrutinising a bit more, he's still got a lot to learn as a player. Like, he's not Moussa Dembele. Like, we're not going to get someone coming and offering 20 odd million for him this season. We're just not. So it's exciting to know that what he's delivered this season at Celtic is not the finished article. So that boy's got bags, and he's absolutely vital.
Christopher Aya, we touched on him a little bit already.
What a boy.
Brilliant. Young, he's great on the ball, so committed. We've seen that last second goal line clearance against Rangers. We've seen how much it meant to him, getting up, celebrating it. Still bags of potential to develop, and the number one centre half going into next season, which, when you think about where he's come from in the squad, to be the number one centre half tells you exactly how good he is.
He's amazing, phenomenal, and certainly someone that, given his position in the team and how he looks after the squad, he's the first man in the scene. When something's kicking off, he's always looking to look after his teammates. I think he's got leadership potential. I think he's someone in the future that, if he hangs around, he is still very young, he could still move on with bags of potential. I think if he sticks around, he's someone that could lead Celtic in the future. Definitely.
Player of the Year, James Forrest, clean sweep of all of the awards bar the Celtic ones, I think.
100%.
Massive season for him in terms of numbers, goals, assists. He scored big goals as well. I still feel like, though, there's just that little bit of inconsistency there, and see if he could. We've seen that really concentrated period in about October, November, where he was just frightening, and see if he could do that more consistently. What a player.
Phenomenal. St Johnstone, when we were up there, and he scored 4 goals that day. We're talking about forest fires. Like, it was unplayable for that dense period there in the season. If he could produce that and reproduce it for 80-90% of the season, Celtic will take that kick on that we were looking for in consistency of results. He is that important.
And last but not least, Callum McGregor.
Certainly not least.
The Celtic Player of the Year and the Players Player of the Year.
First name in the team
First
sheet.
name in the team sheet. So consistent, 7, 8 out of 10 every single week. He can play in numerous positions. We've seen him drop deeper, round about that purple patch in October, which led to a discussion about whether he's better to be in that sort of 6th role than Brown is. I don't know if that's I think it is the case sometimes, but in other games you might need different qualities. But he's the best player in the squad in terms of awareness, vision. He reads the game so well, getting his body in the right position the amount of times he turns when receiving the ball and takes the man who's marking him out of the game. Things that are really difficult to coach, I think. Excellent footballer.
Phenomenal. And like you said, he's just one of those guys that he has abundance of everything that you would look for in a football player, and he's such a utility player. When you need him to drop back or move forward, he can do it all, and it probably is testament to his technical ability. Definitely.
That's it. Have we missed anybody? I don't know if we've missed anybody. If we have missed anybody, I'm sure you'll let us know in the comments. That's it for the tier video. We'll be back soon with the transfer content once some deals hopefully start to roll in. We'll see you then. Like the video, comment your own tiers below. Who do you think is vital? Who do you think we should punt? Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you soon for some more transfer content. Thank you.